I'm doing an everyday makeup tutorial. So, to start off, I'm using the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist, and I mist that all over my face. It's not really a mister, so I go back in and kind of rub it into my face. I don't actually put primer all over my face. I only put primer in my T-zone, so that kind of just helps the other areas that I don't put it. And then I'm going in with the Benefit Pore Freshenal Primer, and I put that in my T-zone. And I just go and put that my chin, anywhere that like I have big pores. And then over any pimples, because it helps with the texture just a little bit. Foundation. Now I use a couple foundation, just because that's what gives me like the best result. And I go in with the Fenty Beauty. I do like 1 squirt of the Fenty foundation. And then I take the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 310. And the Fenty was in the shade 240. So then I take this and I put just a tiny little bit. So like that. And then, because I'm a little pale, I go in with the Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 110, which is the lightest shade they have. And I put a little bit of that just to lighten up the foundation a little bit. So I put some of that so it looks like that. And then I just use my finger and mix it all together. I have to sneeze. Maybe something like that. Some left over, and then you can use that to like clean up brows and stuff like that. And then I'm taking my Morphe Y6 brush. It's like a flat top kabuki, and I'm just gonna blend that out. Be sure to blend onto your neck and into your hairline too. I also blend into my eyebrows because there's always a little skin left over that you can see under your eyebrows. And you don't want it to be a different color than your face. After I have done that, I'm then going with concealer. And what I do is I use concealer to brighten, but I also use it to actually conceal. So I have 2 different shades, 2 different brands. So to conceal like blemishes I take the NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer in the shade CW04. And I use that to cover up any actual pimples that I have, or like blemishes and imperfections. After I do that, I go in with the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair Neutral. And I don't like spreading this because it is a very like pigmented concealer, and it almost brightens too much, so I just dot it. And then I go and I take my damp beauty sponge and I just blend all that out. So then you're left with this. And then I go in with my Lorac Pro Contour Palette. And I just take any random powder brush and I go into the yellow highlight. I do a little bit of the yellow and a little bit of the beige. And then I just dust that over anywhere that I put the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. Just to set that and keep it brightened a little. And then what I do is I go in with why do I always look at everything? I go in with my Hello Flawless powder from Benefit in the shade Petal, I think. And I'm going with a Y3 brush. And this is just like a regular face powder that I dust over all the areas, but I didn't put concealer. And that's just to set the foundation. That way when I go in with bronzer, it doesn't stick to the skin and I can blend it out. Going in with the Urban Decay Beached Bronzer in the shade Bronzed and a Morphe R2 brush. I'm just getting a little bit on my brush, and then I start pretty much at the top of my ear and I blend to about like the edge of my eye. And then since I have a ginormous forehead, I go and bronze the edges of it a little bit, just to kind of give the illusion that it's a little smaller than it is. I go in with basically just a little e.l.f. stippling brush, and I go into the medium contour shade in the Laura Pro palette, and I just go in the center of where. And then with that same brush, I go into the light contour and I just hit the sides of my nose. So that's it for contour and bronzer. For highlighter today, ooh, no. I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sun Dipped Glow Kit. And I'm taking a Y14 brush in the shade Summer, and then a little bit of Moonstone. And then whatever's left over on the brush, I go and I blend to the top of my eyebrow. And that is that for highlighter. And then after highlighter, I do blush. I like to do blush after I've done everything, because then it helps blend the highlighter and the bronzer together a little bit. So now I'm just taking a almost like kind of slanted tapered brush from Morphe. I got it from their rose gold brush collection. They have like a mini brush collection. And I'm going into my Blush Bazaar palette from Tarte into the shade Fortunate. Going into that, really get in that. And I'm tapping off all the excess. And then I also tap on my arm a little bit just in case there's... And I go to the cheeks in between the highlight and the bronzer. And then, once I've finished all my face makeup, I go in to my... I have an e.l.f. loose powder in the shade Sheer. And I go in with that and my damp beauty sponge. I just bake underneath my contour, just to keep the line. And then I leave that for a second. And I go on to brows. And today I'm using the Precisely My Brow Pencil from Benefit in the shade number 3. And I just comb them out first. Comb them out. And then I just start with the bottom line. And I line that all the way to the tail. And I start in the middle of my top. And kind of just finish the tail. And then when I do get to the front, I go in the front of the brow and I just make light strokes upward. Brush it out, and this brow's good enough. So then once I finish the brow, I go in with the Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade 3 as well. And this is just like a brow setting gel. And I just comb it through the brows all the way to the tail. making sure all the hairs are in place. And then the front, I just kind of brush them up a little bit. And then go and do the next brow. Well, now, for the second time, didn't press record. All I did was spray my Ofra Makeup Fixer all over and pressed it in with just this little puff, which I think, personally, I think it helps melt the product into the skin. Then I went in with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, put that all over my eyelids, and then I went and set it with an E13 brush and the face powder I used. And just brushed that all over the eye to set the primer. Now I'm going in with the Jaclyn Hill x Morphe palette, and I'm taking 573. I'm dipping it into the shade Silk Cream, using that as a transition shade in my crease. And then taking an M441, I'm going into the shade Pooter. And I'm putting that in the crease. And then on an R39, I'm going into the shade Mocha. Let me grab a different R39, a cleaner one. Into the shade Mocha. Put that in the crease, just to deepen it up a little. Okay, and then just on my finger, I'm taking the shade Beam, which is just a super light milky shade, tapping my finger in there. I'm not rubbing it around because it's a natural look, so I'm tapping my finger, and then I'm just gonna tap, 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 just to give my eyes a little shimmer, but not too much. Okay, and then we're taking a Y21 brush in the shade Silk Cream, buffing out the lower lash line, and into the shade Pooter, and last into the shade Mocha. But we're keeping Mocha super close to the lower lash line. Now, I'm going to take this little pencil brush into the highlighter I used. So we're dipping back into the Glow Kit in the shade Summer, and I'm putting that on my inner corner. And now for mascara, I used the Tarte Lights Camera Flashes in the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. And I start off with the Tarte one. The Tarte one is supposed to lengthen since it has almost like skinnier bristles and more spread apart. So that's meant to lengthen your lashes. And then the Urban Decay one has more like fat put together bristles. So it's supposed to add volume. And then I go on my lower lashes with the Tarte mascara, just to add a little volume there. And then for lips, I'm taking the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. Here it is, the complete look. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, give it a thumbs up or comment.